Hey, how's it going? So today we're going to be starting off this Tycoon tutorial with the conveyor and the spawner. So hopping right into it, we're going to spawn the part and we're going to drag this part out a little bit, like so. Move it there. We're going to scale it and we're going to scale it along the Z axis. So holding shift, we can scale it to however we like. So about there should be fine. And then we're going to come here to the properties tab, go to size, and we're going to set the y-axis, the number in the middle, to 0.1, so it's nice and flat. And then we can come over here to the part in the workspace, and we're going to change the name of that to conveyor. We're going to copy and paste, lift it up just a bit, and we're going to scale this back here. We're going to scale this up. We're going to anchor this. We're also going to anchor this as well. And then we're going to change the name of this to be spawner. And we're going to come back to the conveyor, copy this once more, bring it over like so, bring it down a little bit, not a lot. Oops. Hold on. Okay. And we're going to scale this down a little bit. Oops, not that much. And we're going to call this the collector. And we'll be changing the color of that to a nice green. And I'm just going to scale this up a little back. Okay, so now we can start scripting. So first things first, we can come over to our replicated storage. We're going to create a folder. We're going to call it conveyor. It's going to hold everything related to our conveyor. And we're going to add a module script. And I'm just going to rename this to ConveyorStats, like so. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to type in local stats be equal to here. We're going to have a conveyor equals. So we're going to have a table, nested table. We're going to set our speed of the conveyor. And then we're going to come down and we're going to create a function we can use for all of our conveyors. So it's going to be called function ConveyorStats.GetSpeed. And inside it's going to return the stats.conveyor.speed. So, oh, I see I misspelled conveyor up here, so I'm going to fix that. And we'll just copy paste that. And so once we have this module script created, we can then go right back to our workspace, go to the conveyor, hit plus, hit script, and then we can start with local replicated storage, so we can access the replicated storage, GetService, replicated storage, and now we have to also access the conveyor folder. And to do that, we're going to access the replicated storage. We're going to WaitForChild, and we're going to access specifically the conveyor folder. Now we can access the conveyor stats, and in order to do that, we're going to have to require the conveyor folder, WaitForChild, and then this will be the conveyor stats. And I forgot to rename the module script to conveyor stats, so I was wondering why it didn't pop up. Okay, that's better. Okay, and so you can also print if you want to, and you would print the ConveyorStats.GetSpeed. And we can do that real quick just to check that everything is working. So if we hit play, and we can see right down the bottom, it says 14. Get out of here, brush tool. But you tell there's no speed, nothing going on, so we're going to add that real quick. We're going to hit stop. We're going to come back to the script, and I'm actually going to rename the script to ConveyorActionScript. And now we're going to have a while true do. And now we're going to have our local conveyor speed. So we're going to get what we had in the print. We're just going to take that for a second. And so now we have our conveyor speed, that right there. And then probably the most complicated thing here, which isn't too complicated, we're going to access the script.Parent.AssemblyLinearVelocity. And so we're actually setting the assembly linear velocity. So, well, it's already auto-completing here, but it is going to be script.Parent.CFrame.LookVector. And then not dot, because it's a vector. We can't do a dot there. Times the conveyor, not stats, speed. And we also want to make sure we do task.wait 0.1. We just don't want to. We just don't want Roblox to handle too much at once. So we have a little bit of a buffer. But that should be fine. So now once we hit play, this should work. And to test that it works, we'll hop on it, and you'll see that we're smoothly going backwards, and we're smoothly going across. And since our main walk speed is 16, we can overtake it. So the next thing to do is to set our spawner right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, we can focus on spawning the money. So first things first, we're going to want to come back to the replicated storage. We're going to want to create a new folder, call it MoneyContainer. And once we're done with that, we're going to also want to create a quick part. Go to size, set it to 1, 1, 1. We're going to change its color to a nice neon blue. And we're going to rename this part to money. Okay, we're going to drag and drop into the money container. And then we can start our code in the spawner where we'll hit the plus, add the script, rename it to spawn, and delete hello world. So we're going to first start with replicated storage, and that's just going to be game GetService replicated storage. Now we're going to access the money folder, similar to how we accessed the conveyor folder before. And that's just going to be replicated storage, WaitForChild, and the name of the folder, in this case is MoneyContainer. And then we're going to come down and access the part, if we could spell it right. And this is just going to be the money folder, WaitForChild, and the name, which is money. So now we should be able to access the part. So now we're going to have to access the script.Parent. So we'll call this spawner equals script.Parent. So this is just the parent of this script, which is just our part, the spawner. So we can basically set or use its properties. And now we're going to create a function. I'm going to call it SpawnMoney, and we're going to have a position parameter. And in here, we're going to have local newMoney equals money : clone. So that's going to create the new money, but now we have to tell it where we want it to go. So we're going to call newMoney.Parent, and we're going to set that into the workspace. So now it's in the workspace, but that's not too useful because now we have to actually set a position and orientation for it. So the way to do that is do newMoney. We'll do PivotTo. We'll do CFrame.new. And we're going to actually have that be the position we set. And now we can have a while through do, and we can use the function. We can set the spawner.Position, and we're going to want to subtract a vector 3 for the Y position, just so it spawns a little bit below the part. So we'll do the vector 3 dot new 0, 2 should be fine. And then we're going to want to make sure that we have a task. Let's speed it up just so we can see it pretty quick. So we'll do a task.wait 2. So using this spawn script, we play, and as you can see, we now have money going over to the other side, and it's just stopping right over here. Okay, so that's really going to be all for today's video. In the next video, we're going to kind of focus on the money aspects of it. I'm just like collecting this. And some other things probably. So I'll see you next time. Later.